big win for LIV golfer Joaquin Niemann this weekend, but not big enough. Hey everyone, welcome into another edition of On Tour with John McCarthy, presented by Callaway. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun national golf writer John McCarthy. And Joaquin Niemann, John, has been on a bit of a roll of late, winning a couple of tournaments, including the LIV Golf season opener at LIV Mayakoba this past weekend. But despite that, his chances of playing at both the Masters or the US Open right now, not great, because LIV events do not give out world ranking points. Seems like, at least for some of the players at LIV, they are starting to come to this realization.
Yeah, it's clearly on his mind. It was the first words out of his mouth when they interviewed him on the green after a four-hole playoff, a win in the dark at LIV Mayakoba. It was a pretty thrilling end to the event, and then the first words out of his mouth were, "But I'm not in the majors," it's a little weird. Because it's not, like you said, it's not exactly true. He is going to be in the British Open or the Open Championship at Royal Troon for sure, on the strength of his Australian Open win a few months ago. And he likely will also be in the PGA Championship because his world ranking, it will still be high enough to get him into that tournament. So he's primarily talking about the Masters and the US Open. But the bigger point is that this was always sort of the obvious pitfall of signing with LIV Golf. It's the reason that initially the big names, we're not the pre-retirement guys, not the Lee Westwoods and Ian Poulters, but the big names that were in their prime that chose to go over. They went over there having already won major championships, already having exemptions for, 5 years into all the majors. These are guys like DJ and Bryson and Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed. And then the guys that came over recently, Cam Smith and Jon Rahm, they both, like Cam Smith came over after he won the British Open when he already had his exemptions, and Jon Rahm has won the US Open, won last year's Masters. So he's locked up into these majors, for the next foreseeable future. And they're sort of betting on themselves that they'll be able to pick off another one and keep the major train rolling. So to come over at 23 or so, I think that's what Niemann was when he signed, without any exemptions into any majors, this was always going to be the risk. And whether he was sold a bag of goods from Greg Norman, I mean, if you're sitting across from Norman who's selling LIV Golf and you can't understand that maybe not everything he's saying is going to come to fruition, then I think maybe you've got bigger problems. But it's up to these guys. They made that choice, and part of the reason they got all this money was because there was risk involved in it, for sure.
Yeah, there definitely was, and they are living through it right now, no pun intended. Niemann, though, did edge Sergio Garcia in that playoff. What did you make of the LIV season opener as a whole this year?
Well, I thought it was a pretty compelling week for them. It was the perfect opportunity because with the Pebble Beach Pro-Am being canceled at the time, no Sunday golf, so they had Sunday to themselves. And I did see there's some progress in the product. I've noticed in the first couple of years, the announcers were a little too over the top with the how great what you're watching is. And I mean, if something's really great, you don't usually need to tell people that what they're watching is great. I thought they dialed that back a bit, which was really good. And one thing that I've seen missing in LIV Golf is sort of the competitive zeal of the entire field. And we did see that. We sort of hoped we might get some of that with Jon Rahm going over, one of the most fiery players in golf. But on Sunday, when you had Jon Rahm looking for his first win, and he's always full of steam. And then you had Sergio Garcia trying to win his first event on LIV, and you could tell it was it's getting on him that he's been there now. This is his third season, and he hadn't won anything. And then you had Joaquin Niemann, who clearly has a bit of a chip on his shoulder, thinking he deserves to be in the sport's biggest events. So with the three of them going down the stretch with each other, I thought we did see some real competition. I thought that was cool. The tech, the graphics, all that stuff, it works. It's probably a step above what you see on the PGA Tour as far as the scoreboards and some of the stuff they do with that. On the other side, I thought the question is still, are people interested in watching this? It's the year 3 now. I watched on YouTube, and I'm not sure how you track who was watching, but at least on my television, on my YouTube, it looked like between 15 and sort of 25,000 viewers for most of Sunday, which isn't a great amount. I still think the team competition falls flat. You're sort of trying to watch this event, see if Niemann can win, see if Rahm can win, and they keep telling you that, the Fireballs have a chance for a podium finish. And it's hard to juggle it and even figure out why you care about who comes third in a team competition, or who even wins it for that matter. We're going to see, though, because next week is the LIV Golf is right back at it. They're in Vegas, where the Super Bowl is, and they're going head-to-head with the Waste Management, one of the biggest parties on the PGA Tour. So they're not shying away from the competition. I do think they took a step forward, and obviously a player like Jon Rahm helps, and a little more controversy, which seems to be what they're known for. So they're hoping to probably ride a bit of a high into this week, and we'll see if they're able to do it.
Well, they're going to be battling it out back and forth all season long. We'll see how it goes. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. You can find all of John's golf coverage at the Toronto Sun.